go to shareholders equity. We have let's continue your discussion. Let's go to shareholders equity. We have 4 major sections in shareholders equity: share capital, retained earnings, OCI, and treasury shares. So for share capital, meron tayong preference share capital, ordinary share capital, subscribed share capital, minus subscriptions receivable. So naka-minus yan, contra equity yan. You have share premium or APIC, and you have stock dividends distributable. Now, yung i-check ko, yan yung reported at par. Alright? So lahat yan, yung naka-check na yan, at par value yan. Right? Next, retained earnings. And we have OCI. Later, explain natin yung retained earnings separately. Examples of OCI: unrealized gain or loss from FVOCI, revaluation surplus under PPE, remeasurement gain or loss under employee benefits, gain or loss on translation, and gain or loss on cash flow hedge. Yung treasury shares natin, contra equity din yan. So naka-minus siya. So dalawa class yung naka-minus natin: subscription receivable and treasury shares. Okay, so apply natin yan. Let's go to our handouts. Shareholders equity number 1. What is the meaning of net assets? Pag assets or net assets, assets minus liabilities or equity. Letter C, shareholders equity. Number 2, issued shares refer to the number of shares. So ganito yung class, diba? Issued minus treasury shares, you have outstanding. Now, sabi dyan, alin doon yung issued? O punta ka dun sa letter C, outstanding shares plus treasury shares. So work back ha, pag plinas mo yung dalawa na yan, equal yan sa issued. Letter C for number 2. Number 3, loss from reissuance. So treasury shares shall be charged to, kapag nag-reissue tayo ng treasury shares, below cost. Ganito yung entry natin dyan. If you remember, debit cash, credit share premium, pag kulang, debit mo sa RE, credit treasury shares. So answer mo dyan, letter C, share premium and retained earnings. Let's go to numbers 4, 5, and 6. So ang question sa ating class is share capital, number 4, number 5 is share premium, and number 6 is total shareholders equity. So ganito gagawin ko dyan. Meron tayong share capital, we have share premium, and total shareholders equity. Okay, so tingnan natin per transaction. At the beginning of the current year, an entity was organized and authorized to issue 100,000 shares with 50 par value, and circle mo yung 50 na par. During the current year, the entity had the following transactions. Issued 10,000 shares at 70. So, ibig sabihin, 10,000 times 70, cash na na-receive natin is 700,000. So, ganito gagawin ko dyan. Debit cash, 700,000. Credit share capital, which is at par value, 10,000 times 50, 500,000. Difference, alam natin class, sa share premium yan, 200,000. Next natin, number 2. Issued 20,000 shares at 80 pesos per share. So, 20,000 times par value na 50, you have 1 million. And ang total niyan, 20,000 times 80, that's 1.6 million. 1.6 million minus 600, minus 1 million is 600,000. Alright? Next is, okay, so later na yung total. Okay? Next, number 3, reported net income of 1 million. So we know kapag net income, lalagay natin yan sa retained earnings. Okay, so 1 million retained earnings. Next natin, paid cash dividends, 200,000. Dividends, we know, minus yan sa retained earnings, 200,000. And number 5, purchase 3,000 treasury shares at 100 per share. So 3,000 times 100, that's 300,000. So we know, kapag treasury shares, contra equity account yan, 300,000. Tingnan natin yung balances. Share capital is 1.5 million. Share premium is 800,000. RE natin is 800,000. And treasury shares natin, negative 300,000. Number 4, what amount should be reported as share capital? 1.5 million, letter A. Number 5, what amount should be reported as share premium? 800,000, letter A. And number 6, what is the total shareholders equity? Add natin lahat yan. 1.5 million. Plus 800,000, plus 800,000, minus 300,000. You have letter A, 2.8 million for number 6. Let's go to 7, 8, and 9. Ganun pa rin. So, number 7, what is the total amount of share premium? Number 8, what is the share capital? And number 9, what is the total shareholders equity? So, gagawin ko dyan, lalagay tayo ng share capital, share premium, and tignan natin. Share capital, an entity reported the following shareholders equity at the beginning of the year. Share capital, 2,250,000. Take note, 10 pesos yung par value natin. Yun yung mga unadjusted balances, 2,250,000. Share premium, 1.5 million. And then, may RE tayo dyan na 2 million. Yun yung mga beginning balances. Bullet number 1, acquired 10,000 treasury shares for 500,000. So, entry natin, debit treasury shares, credit cash. So, meron kang negative 500,000. Bullet number 2, sold 5,000 treasury shares at 60 pesos per share. Pag ganyan, mag-journal entry tayo. Debit cash, 5,000 times 60, that is 300,000. Okay, credit treasury shares, yung cost ng treasury shares natin is 60 pesos. Sorry, 500, yung punta sa bullet number 1, 500,000. Divide mo sa 10,000, ang cost natin is 50 pesos. Okay? So, 50, ang binenta mo 5,000. 5,000 times 50. Credit treasury shares tayo, 250,000. And then may share premium, balancing figure, 50,000. I-post natin. So, treasury shares, bawas siya ng 250,000. And share premium, take note, na may 50,000 tayo dyan. Plus 50,000. And number 3, okay, sold 2,000 treasury shares at 45 pesos per share. Debit cash, 2,000 times 45, that is 90,000. Credit natin yung treasury shares. Remember, yung cost natin is 50 pesos. Tama? 2,000 times 50, you have 100,000. So, kulang yung debit natin, pero malaki yung share premium natin sa treasury shares. So, pasok yung 10,000 dyan. Debit share premium, 10,000. So, i-post natin. Mag-debit tayo share premium, 10,000. And then, treasury shares tayo, nag-credit. So, plus 100,000. Let's compute for the total. Share capital is 250,000. Share premium natin, 1.5 million. Plus 50, minus 10,000. You have 1,540,000. Retained earnings natin, 2 million. And then, treasury shares natin, 500,000. Minus 250, minus 100,000. You have negative 150,000. Question number 7. Total amount of share premium, 1,540,000, letter C. Share capital, 2,250,000, letter A. Total shareholders equity, add natin lahat yan, 2,250,000. Plus 1,540,000, plus 2 million. minus 150,000. Answer natin class, letter A, 5,640,000. Easy. Okay, next. Let's go to retained earnings. Yung retained earnings, part siya of the shareholders' equity. Okay? So basically, yan yung net income na ni-retain natin sa corporation. Yung net income na hindi natin ni-retain, tawag doon dividends. Right? So we know class, yung retained earnings, ito yung movement niya. Beginning balance, plus net income, plus minus prior period errors, plus minus change in accounting policy, magdi-decrease yung dividends, and then you get the ending balance. Now, yung retained earnings, pwede mo siyang i-categorize into two. Unappropriated or unrestricted retained earnings and appropriated or restricted retained earnings. Ang difference yan, kapag unappropriated, pwede mo i-declare as dividends. Kapag appropriated, hindi mo pwede i-declare as dividends. Meron tayong tatlong reasons for appropriation. Number one, legal restriction. Example dito, treasury shares. Required tayo legally to appropriate for treasury shares. Contractual, and next is voluntary. Okay, so pag-usapan natin yung dividends. Meron tayong three major dividends. Right? So cash dividends, property dividends, and stock dividends. So yung dividends na yung class, ang entitled dyan yung mga outstanding shares. So ano yung outstanding? Issued plus subscribe. Huwag mo kalimutan yung subscribe minus treasury shares. Yun yung outstanding natin. Okay? Lahat ng outstanding shares, entitled sila sa dividends. So tingnan natin class kung paano yung entry natin kapag cash dividends. Debit, retained earnings, take note tayo yung magde-declare. Credit cash dividends payable. Yung cash dividends payable is a liability, which is equal kung how much yung cash na ibabayad natin to the shareholders. Property dividends naman, debit, retained earnings, credit, property dividends payable, liability rin yan at fair value of the property or asset. Okay? Fair value siya. Now, kapag ang dineclare natin is a non-current asset na property, meron tayong reclassification. Non-current asset, held for distribution to owners, credit, for example, PPE. I-reclassify lang natin. Okay? And then, mark to market mo yan every period. Okay? And then, stock dividends, meron tayong two types dyan. Meron tayong tinatawag na small stock dividends and large stock dividends. Kapag ang dineclare natin is less than 20% of the outstanding shares, small yun. Yung RE natin, i-debit natin at fair value. Kapag large, at least 20%, okay, of the outstanding shares at par value naman yung debit natin to RE. Okay, RE debit. Sige, that's for retained earnings. Okay, so apply natin. Let's go to our handouts. Retained earnings number one, cash dividends are paid on the basis of number of outstanding shares, letter C. Number two, the declaration and issuance of a share dividend on ordinary shares. Okay, so tingnan mo class yung entry natin kapag nag-stock dividends tayo. Actually, ang entry for stock dividends, may sulat ko dito, debit retained earnings, credit stock dividends distributable, yung SDD, credit share premium. Okay, yun yung entry natin kapag small stock dividends. So lahat yan equity accounts. So therefore, ang sagot mo dyan, A, has no effect on assets, liabilities, and total shareholders' equity. Wala siyang effect. Okay? So lahat yan equity. So A, sagot mo dyan. Number 3, when a property dividend is declared, the dividend payable must be measured on the fair value of property. Okay, so declaration date, reporting date, December 31, and distribution, mag-mark to market tayo, letter C for number 3. Number 4, which statement is incorrect concerning appropriation of RE? Punta ka dun sa dog. Appropriation of RE reflect funds set aside for designated purposes such as plant expansion. Actually, yung retained earnings and net income yan. So, hindi necessary na cash yan. Okay, so hindi yan cash. Nakalagay kasi funds set aside. Ibig sabihin equal doon sa cash. Hindi yan cash. Yung dog yung sagot natin. Number 5, Pinnacle Company had 10,000 shares issued and outstanding on January 1. On March 15, the entity declared a 2-for-1 share split when the fair value was 80. On December 15, the entity declared a 5 pesos per share cash dividend. What amount should be reported as dividends? So, gagawin ko lang dyan, kumpitin natin yung number of shares. Tama ba class? Meron tayong 10,000 shares. Okay, may 10,000 shares tayo. And then, for number 5, nag-stock split. Alam natin, pag stock split, na-discuss natin sa investments, multiply natin by 2. So, ibig sabihin, 20,000 outstanding shares natin. How much yung dividends? 5 pesos. 20,000 times 5, 100,000. Letter B for number 5. Let's go to number 6. What is the net change of the property dividend? In 2025, Company X bought 10,000 shares of Company Y at a cost of 200. On December 1, Company X declared property dividend to shareholders. Sabi ko kanina, pag property dividend at fair value siya. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, ang company shares at the following market value. December 1, in yung declaration, 250. December 31, 260,000. Ang tanong sa atin is 2025, lalagyan ko na entry. Debit retained earnings. Credit property dividends payable. So this is December 1. Okay, that's 250,000. And then December 31, nakalagay dyan, naging 260. So tumaas ang 10,000. Debit retained earnings, credit property dividends payable, 10,000 para maging 260,000 siya. Answer mo dito class, letter D. What is the net charge, the retained earnings? May 250 ka, may 10, 260,000, letter D. Number 7, what aggregate amount should be debited to retained earnings for the share dividends? Pag small stock dividends, at fair value. Pag large stock dividends, at par value. Tingnan natin. Okay, number 7, Mr. Accounting declared and distributed 10% share dividend with fair value of 1.5. So yung small, 10%, so below 20, so 1.5 million yan. And par value of 1 million, ignore mo yung 1 million. 25%, yun yung large, at par value yan, 3.5 million. So 1.5 plus 3.5, that is 5 million, letter C for number 7. Number 8. Okay, what is the unappropriated balance of retained earnings? So, follow lang natin yung T account natin for RE. CPA Company reported the following shareholders' equity on January 1. Meron tayong share capital, 5 peso par, 600,000 shares authorized, 200,000 shares issued and outstanding. So, underline yung 200,000 outstanding natin. Share premium and retained earnings. Yung par value natin is 5 pesos. Okay, so, ganito gagawin ko plus. TT account lang sa RE natin. May RE tayo na beginning, which is 2.8 million. On January 31, the entity reacquired 10,000 shares at 30 pesos per share. Treasury shares yun, tama? So meron tayong treasury shares, 10,000 times 30, that's 300,000. On July 1, the entity declared and issued 30% share dividend at par value yan. So, ibig sabihin, yung 200,000 natin na outstanding shares, multiply natin by 30%. Okay, multiply natin by par value of 5, 200,000 times 30% times 5, yun yung debit natin to retained earnings, 300. So bumili ka pala ng 10,000 treasury shares. Okay, so gagawin ko dyan, 200,000 minus mo yung treasury kasi hindi na yan entitled sa stock dividends. Right? 200,000 minus 10,000 times 30% times 5, that is 285,000. Okay, debit retained earnings, debit retained earnings, stock dividends distributable, 285,000. Next, the entity declared and paid cash dividends of 10 pesos per share. So, meron tayong 190,000 dyan. And then, nag-declare ng 30%, so times 1.3. Ilan yung number of shares natin? 190,000 times 1.3, you have 247,000. How much yung cash dividends? Sabi dyan, 10 pesos. 247,000 times 10, 247,000. Debit retained earnings, 247,000. Credit cash dividends payable, 247,000. Net income, 3 million. So, lagyan natin sa credit yan. 2.8 million plus 3 million minus 285,000 minus 247,000. Sagot mo dito, class? So, hindi pa pala. Huwag mo isasagot yung 3,045,000. Kasi sabi dyan, unappropriated. Automatic, kapag may treasury ka, legal yan. So, i-appropriate mo yan. So, appropriated natin is 300,000 equal to the cost of the treasury shares. 3,045,000 minus 300,000. And unappropriated mo dito, class, is 2,745,000. Answer natin, letter A for number 8. Okay, next, let's go to financial statements. We have 5. Statement of financial position, statement of comprehensive income, changes in equity, statement of cash flows, and notes to financial statements. Yung notes, basically, nandyan yung accounting policies natin. And then yung mga details and breakdowns kung ano yung nandun sa mga financial statements natin. Alright? Sige, start na tayo with statement of financial position or also called the balance sheet. Alam natin, class, ito yung basis of our basic accounting equation, assets equal to liabilities plus equity. Okay? So, tingnan natin. For assets and liabilities, ika-classify mo yan kung current or non-current. Kailan siya magiging current and non-current? Current siya if it's expected to be realized kapag asset or settled kapag liability within 12 months or operating cycle, whichever is longer. Alam natin, yun yung rule natin dito. Okay? So again, current siya if it's expected to be realized kapag asset and settled kapag liability within 12 months or operating cycle, whichever is longer. Kapag beyond 12 months or operating cycle, non-current siya. Pag equity, wala tayong classification na ganyan. Alright? Sige. Let's apply. Let's go to our handout. Statement of financial position. A complete set of financial statements includes all of the following except statement of financial position, changes in equity, comprehensive income, walang dog. Statement of changes in financial position, walang ganyan. Letter D. Number 2, the basis for classifying assets, current or non-current, operating cycle or 1 year or 12 months, whichever is longer, boy for number 2. Number 3, the statement of financial position is useful for the following except. So yung statement of financial position, kaya siya financial position, so minimeasure niya yung ability to pay, right, of the entity. Liquidity, yes. Pag sabi liquidity, short-term obligations. Solvency, long-term obligations. Financial flexibility, yes. Determining cash flow, hindi yan. Statement of cash flows yan. So, dog for number 3. Okay, so, tignan natin, class. For number 4, complete natin how much yung current assets. Cash, kasama yan. 1.5 million. So, diretso calculator tayo. AR, yes, 1.2. Inventory, including inventory expected in the ordinary course of business to be sold beyond 12 months. Okay lang. Kasi operating cycle tawag natin dyan. So, plus 1 million. Financial asset held for trading, yes, FBPL, plus 300,000. FVOCI, kapag silent, non-current yung kasama yan. Equipment held for sale, yan yung non-current asset held for sale, kasama yan, current asset yan. Plus 2 million. Deferred tax asset, non-current asset yan. So, nakuha ko dito 6 million, letter A for number 4. So, ulitin ko, 1.5 million, plus 1.2 million, plus 1 million, plus 300,000, plus 2 million, 6 million yung total natin. Number 5, what amount should be reported as total current assets at year-end? Okay, so tingnan natin. Cash, kasama yan, obviously. So, yung cash natin is 4.5 million, so number 5 na tayo. Cash is 4.5 million. And then, AR, 7.5 million. Tingin ka sa baba para dun sa AR. Nakalagay, an analysis disclosed that the AR comprised the following. So, meron tayong trade kasama, 5 million. Allowance for doubtful accounts, 500,000. Selling price of CBAs and sold goods sent to ABC on consignment. O, hindi yan receivable. So, ang AR lang natin is 4.5 million. Okay? And then, next nating class is yung notes receivable. Net of discounted note. Oh, yung notes receivable discounted, minaminus talaga natin yan. So, walang problema. You have 2 million. Yung inventory nating class, yung nakalagay dyan, 4 million. Tama? Pero yung consignment natin, nakalagay, tayo yung consignor, so sa atin yan. 150% of cost. So, gagawin ko dyan, 3 million divided by 1.5. Yung cost natin is 2 million. Isama mo yung consignment, so 6 million yung inventory natin. 4.5 million plus 4.5 million plus 2 million plus 6 million. Sagot natin dito, class, is letter A, 70 million. Easy. Okay. Next, number 6. What amount should be reported as current liabilities? Diretso calculator tayo. XYZ company reported the following account balances. Accounts payable, yes, current liability yan. Bonds payable, hindi. Premium bonds payable, no, non-current yan. DTL, no, always non-current yan. Dividends payable, yes, kapag silent cash yan, cash dividends, plus 500. Income tax payable, yes, plus 900. Notes payable due January 31, 2026. Currently maturing. Magmamature next year. Kasama yan, 600,000. Letter C, 3.9 million. Punta tayo sa number 7. What total amount should be reported as current liabilities? Okay, so doon tayo sa given. PinnaFAR company disclose the following liabilities. Meron tayong accounts payable after deducting debit balances. So dapat hindi mo deduct yan. Add back natin. 4 million plus 100 is 4.1 million. Current liability yan. Next natin, accrued expenses. Yes, kasama yan. 1.5 million. Next natin is credit balance of customers' accounts. So advances from customers, current liability yan. So like ang customers, that is 500,000. Next, share dividends payable. Equity yan. Ito yan. Share dividends payable. Next natin is claims for increase in wages and employees covered in pending lawsuit, contingent liability, disclose lang yan. Estimated expenses, yes, 600,000. So lagay natin dito estimated 600,000. Compute natin yung total, 4.1 million plus 1.5 million plus 500,000 plus 600,000. Sagot mo dito, letter A, 6.7 million. Okay, let's move on to the second type of financial statement, which is statement of comprehensive income, also called the income statement or the statement of profit or loss. Okay, yun yung ibang tawag dyan. Pero actually, class, yung statement of comprehensive income and income statement, pwede sila magkaiba if merong OCI. Because yung comprehensive income natin is equal to net income plus OCI. So kapag may OCI, magkaiba si statement of comprehensive income and income statement. Okay? Now, paano natin pinapresent yung statement of comprehensive income? Pwedeng single statement or pwedeng two statements. Pag single statement, statement of comprehensive income. Nandiyan is net income plus OCI, you get your comprehensive income. Pag two statements, mag-start tayo with the income statement. Sa income statement, nandiyan yung net income. And then gagawa ka ng statement of comprehensive income. Wherein, net income plus OCI, you get the comprehensive income. Alright, let's apply. Let's go to number 1. What is the purpose of reporting comprehensive income? Profitability or the performance of the entity. Kung net income or net loss. Boy yung sagot dyan. To report a measure of the overall entity performance. Boy for number 1. Number 2, the components of OCI include all except, so ito yung mga OCI items natin. If you remember, unrealized gain or loss on cash flow hedge, ito siya. Next is translation, ito siya. Next is actuarial gain, ito siya. Remeasurement gain or loss. Dividends paid, hindi. Pag dividends paid, debit to retained earnings siya. So dog for number 2. Number 3, what amount should be reported as net income? Number 4, OCI. And number 5, comprehensive income. We know, net income plus OCI is comprehensive income. Okay, so let's see the given. Income from continuing operations, kasama yan. Income from discontinued, kasama yan. So 4 million, net income yan. Tama? So, compute natin yung net income. 4 million plus 500,000. Unrealized gain or loss, FVPL, sa PNL yan, plus 800,000. Okay, so yung PNL natin or net income natin is 5.3 million. Sagot mo na sa number 3 is C. Okay? Number 4, how much daw yung OCI? Compute natin. Unrealized loss, FVOCI, so negative 1 million. Negative siya. And then, unrealized gain, FVOCI, positive 1.2 million. Unrealized gain, cash flow hedge, positive 400,000. Translation loss, negative 500,000. And then, net remeasurement gain, positive 600,000. Revaluation surplus, 2.5 million positive. So, sagot mo dyan, 3.2 million, letter C. So, yung number 5 natin, which is the comprehensive income, add lang natin yan, 5.3 million plus 3.2, you get 8.5 million. Sagot natin, class, letter C for number 5. Okay, next. Let's go to statement of changes in equity. So, basically, yung movements in the shareholders' equity, yan lang yung statement of changes in equity. Okay, ano yung shareholders' equity? Share capital, retained earnings, OCI, and treasury shares. Okay, meron din tayong tinatawag na statement of retained earnings. Pero hindi siya required because pasok na siya dito sa statement of changes in equity. Para mag-visualize yung statement of retained earnings, ito lang din siya, yung T account natin. Okay, so let's go to our handouts. Number 1, which of the following financial statements shows the movements of the elements of the shareholders' equity? Letter C, statement of changes in equity. Number 2, which of the following does not appear in the statement of changes in equity? Net income, yes. Dividends, yes. Issuance of share capital, yes. Change in accounting estimate, PNL yan. Letter D for number 2. Number 3, which of the following does not appear in the statement of retained earnings? Net income, yes. Changes in policy, yes. Ordinary share dividends, yes. All of the above, dog for number 3. Number 4, what is total shareholders' equity? Compute natin. Diretso calculator, share premium, 1 million. Plus accounts payable, hindi. Preference share capital, yes, 2 million. Plus ordinary share capital, 3 million. Sales, yes, kasi affect niyan yung net income. Plus 10 million sales. Minus expenses, 7.8 million. Treasury shares, minus mo yan. Minus 500,000. Minus dividends, kasi nagde-debit ka ng retained earnings. Pag nag-dividends ka, retained earnings beginning, add mo yan. Plus 1 million. Nakuha ko dito class 8 million for number 4. Letter A, 8 million for number 4. Number 5, total shareholders' equity. Diretso calculator tayo. An entity reported the following. Share capital, kasama yan, 15 million. Share premium, yes, 5 million. Treasury shares, minus mo yan, 2 million. Actuarial loss, yes, OCI yan, so minus 1 million. Retained earnings, kasama yan, 6 million. Retained earnings appropriated, kasama din yan, 3 million. Revaluation surplus, OCI yan, 4 million. Cumulative translation adjustment credit, ibig sabihin gain, plus 1.5 million. Letter A, 31.5 million. Okay. Next, doon naman tayo sa statement of cash flows. Okay, statement of cash flows provides information about the cash inflows and cash outflows ng entity natin. Alright? Now, meron tayong 3 major sections: operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. Pag operating, related yan sa ordinary course of business natin. Okay? Yung main line of operations, dalawa yan. Pwedeng direct and indirect. Pag direct, cash received from customers, positive yan. Minus cash paid to suppliers, minus cash paid for operating expenses. Ni-require ng standards na separately i-present natin yung interest paid and income tax paid. You have cash flows from operating activities. Direct method yan. Sa direct method, alam natin, T-account yung technique dyan. Okay, dun tayo sa indirect. Pag indirect, yung net income, gagawin natin cash flows. So, may tatlo yung adjustments dyan. Number 1, adjustments for non-cash items. For example, depreciation expense, add mo yan. Saka yung mga losses. Pero pag gain, ima-minus mo. Okay? Changes in working capital. Pag tumaas yung AR, which is current asset, okay, ma-minus mo yan. Kasi pag current asset, inverse relationship. Kapag accounts payable naman, which is current liability, direct relationship naman yan. Okay? And then, again, interest paid and income tax paid, separately presented. Next. Pag investing activities, purchase and sale of long-term investment. Ano mga example ng long-term investment? FVOCI, meron tayong amortized cost, ano pa, investment property, intangible asset, investment associate, yung mga ganyan. Pag long-term investment, investing yan. And PPE, okay, ano, land building, machinery, equipment, and so on and so forth. Investing din yan. Financing naman, related sa long-term liabilities and equity. So, long-term liabilities, for example, class, bonds, nag-issue tayo. Ano pa, leases, mga ganyan. Equity naman, let's say, nag-declare tayo ng dividends, nag-issue tayo ng shares. Alright, so yung mga ganyan. Okay, sa financing activities naman yan. Alright, so, let's apply. Statement of cash flows, number 1. In the statement of cash flows, depreciation is treated as adjustment to net income because sa depreciation, pag depreciation expense, add back natin sa indirect method. Because, boy, nag-reduce siya ng net income pero wala namang cash flows yan. Boy for number 1. Number 2, using indirect method, an increasing inventory, current asset, inverse relationship. Pag tumaas, i-minus mo. Dog deduction from net income. Number 3, in the statement of cash flows, if used equipment is sold at a gain, the amount shown as cash inflow from investing equals the carrying amount. So, ganito yan. Sa number 3, tama ba class, pag nagbenta tayo, proceeds minus the carrying amount, meron tayong gain. Tama? So, ito yung tiyatanong, paano daw yung proceeds? So, ang sagot dyan, nakalagay, equals carrying amount plus gain. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag carrying amount, inad mo yung gain, mag-i-equal yan dun sa proceeds. Letter A plus the gain. Okay? Carrying amount plus the gain, yun yung proceeds. Number 4, in statement of cash flows, which of the following should be reported as cash flows from financing. Pag financing, long-term liabilities and equity, punta ka sa DOG. Payment to retire mortgage note, which is a long-term liability, and dividend payment. DOG for number 4. Number 5, what is the amount of collections from customers? Number 6, payment of accounts payable. And number 7, cash balance on December 21. So for this one, direct method yan. T-account tayo dyan. Mr. Accounting, company provided the following information. Meron tayong cash and AR. Doon mo tayo sa collections from customers. Siyempre, AR gagamitin mo dyan. Beginning AR natin is 670,000. Ending AR natin is 900,000. Tama? The sales and cost of goods sold were 7,980,000. So lagay mo 7,980 sa debit. And then sold for X tayo. Okay, so 670,000 plus 7,980,000 minus 900,000. Yung collections natin from customers, 7,750,000. Letter C. Punta tayo sa number 6, payment of accounts payable. So pag ganyan, T-account tayo ng inventory and accounts payable. Lagi yan yung partner. No? So inventory beginning, according to the given, is 860,000. Ending balance of inventory is 780,000. Nakalagay dun sa second paragraph, cost of goods sold is 5,830. Lagyan mo siya dito. Therefore, sold for X, yun yung purchases natin. So 780,000 plus 5,830,000 minus beginning, 860. Purchases natin plus 5,750,000. Ilagay mo yung purchases dito sa credit na accounts payable. Beginning accounts payable is 530,000. Ending accounts payable is 480,000. Sold for X. Yan yung payment natin for accounts payable. 530,000 plus 5,750,000 minus 480,000. Sagot mo dito. Ulit natin. 5.8 million, letter C. Okay, so double check natin na 530,000 plus 5,750 minus 480. Sagot mo class, 5.8 million, letter C. Number 7, what is the cash balance? So, T-account ako ng cash. Tama ba class? Meron tayong beginning cash according to the given, 620. Add mo yung na-collect natin na 7,750,000. And then, i-minus mo yung binayaran natin na 5.8 million. Alright? And then, nakalagay dun sa given, dun ka sa second to the last sentence, various expenses of 1,070,000. So, bawas sa cash yan, were paid in cash. So, compute for the ending balance, 620,000 beginning, plus 7,750,000, minus 5.8 million, minus 1,070,000. Answer mo class is, boy, 1.5 million for number 7. Okay, let's go to 8, 9, and 10. Sa 8, 9, and 10 naman, indirect method. And take note class na yung direct and indirect, applicable lang yan sa operating activities. Walang ganun sa investing and financing. Okay? Let's go to number 8. So, tingnan natin class. 8, operating activities. 9, investing. And 10, financing. Meron tayong cash. 2 years na given sa atin. AR natin, tama ba class? Yung AR natin, from 4.6 naging 7 million. 7 million minus 4.6, tumaas ng 2.4 million. Sulat muna natin. Next natin yung investments, bumaba siya ng 750,000. Tama? From 1,750 naging 1 million. PPE natin, mamaya na yan. T-account tayo sa PPE. Okay? And then, T-account tayo sa accumulated depreciation. So, PPE natin beginning, that is 6.5 million. And then, ending na PPE natin is 9 million. Accumulated depreciation naman, 250,000. And then, ending natin is 3 million. Okay, accounts payable. Tingnan natin class. Accounts payable from 3,750 tumaas ng 4,750. Nag-increase ng 1 million. Share capital, tumaas din. So, share capital, tumaas siya ng from 5 million naging 2.5. So, naging 7.5. So, that's increase of 2.5 million. Retained earnings, meron tayong tumaas din siya from 3,850 to 4.5 million. An investment was sold for 120,000 during the year. There was no disposal of land during the year, and the net income is 3 million. Okay, doon mo tayo sa operating activities. So, net income natin, according to the problem, is 3 million. Tama? And then, punta ka dun sa second paragraph. An investment was sold for 1,250,000. Nasaan yung investment natin? So, gawa tayo ng T account. Yung investment natin class beginning is 1,750. And then, naging 1 million siya. Tama ba class, yung binenta natin is 750,000? Tama? How much natin binenta? 1,250,000. 1,250 minus 750, meron tayong gain na 500,000. Okay, 500,000 gain. So, yung gain natin, syempre, ma-minus mo yan. Okay? And then, doon tayo sa accumulated depreciation. Wala daw binenta. So, sold for X. 2,250, naging 3 million. Therefore, depreciation expense mo, 750,000. So, depreciation expense, 750,000. Add back natin yan. And then, meron tayong increase in accounts receivable, 2.4 million. Inverse relationship, so minus. Increase in accounts payable, direct relationship, so plus 1 million. Operating activities, 3 million. Plus 750,000. Minus 500,000. Minus 2.4 million. Plus 1 million, you have 1,850,000. Letter A for operating activities. Let's go to investing. Nagbenta tayo ng investments. Sale of investments. How much yung binenta natin? 1,250,000. Okay? And then, ano pa? Yung PPE natin, wala daw binenta during the year. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, 6.5 naging 9. That is an increase of 2.5 million. So, bumili tayo. Purchase of PPE, 2.5 million. Siyempre, bumili. So, negative yan, 2.5. Negative 2.5 and then plus 1,250, negative 1,250,000. Yan yung investing activities natin. Letter boy. Financing activities, take note yung share capital mo tumaas. Ibig sabihin, nag-increase yung, nag-issue tayo ng shares. So, issuance of shares, 2.5 million. And then, compute natin yung retain in dividends natin. Punta ka sa last sentence. A dividend of 2,350 was paid. So, dividends, 2,350,000. Positive na 2.5 minus 2,350, 150,000. Yun yung financing activities natin. Dog for number 10. Okay, next. Punta naman tayo sa events after the reporting period. Alright, so ito yung mga relevant dates natin. January 1, 2025, yun yung start of the year. Okay, 12/31, balance sheet date. 3/31, sabihin natin na yun yung date the FS are authorized for issue. And then yung April 30, yung actual issuance. Right? So pag sabi mong events after the reporting period, ano ba yung reporting period? January 1 to December 31. So kapag after, ang pinag-uusapan natin is between December 31 and date of authorization of FS, which is March 31. May dalawa tayong events, adjusting events and non-adjusting events. Pag adjusting events, meron tayong with evidence as of December 31. Okay? Kapag non-adjusting events, yung evidence natin after December 31. Okay, so yun yung difference na. Ano yung mga common examples? Adjusting events, pinakamagandang example, pending lawsuit. Adjusting event yan. Ano pa? Bankruptcy, mga ganyan. Non-adjusting events, casualty loss, for example, loss on fire, yung mga example yan. What else? Gain or loss on sale of PPE. What else? Issuance of shares. Dividends. Ayan, mga ganyan examples natin ng non-adjusting events. Alright, let's go to our handouts. Number 1. Which statement is true in relation to events after the reporting period? A. Basahin natin isa-isa. Notes to FS should give details of material adjusting events. By the way, class, kapag adjusting events, meron tayong adjusting entry. Okay? Kapag non-adjusting, disclosure lang yan. So, tingnan natin. Nakalagay sa number 1, kapag adjust notes to FS, kapag material adjusting events, mali yun. Okay? Kasi pag adjusting, hindi disclosure. Adjusting entry yan. B yung tama. Notes to FS should give details of material non-adjusting. Kapag non-adjusting, disclosure. Boy yung sagot mo. Letter C, decline in the market value of investments, non-adjusting event yan. Letter D, settlement of long-term court case, yung pending lawsuit natin, adjusting event yan. So, boy yung tama. 2, which event would require adjustment? Dahil dito yung adjusting event. Loss of plant, hindi. Change in market price and loss on inventory from flood loss, yung ABC, non-adjusting yan. Yung dog, loss on lawsuit of the outcome, adjusting event. Dog for number 2. Number 3, what additional amount should be adjusted on December 31, 2025 in relation to this event? How much daw yung additional amount? Okay, so tingnan natin. DF company carried a provision of 2 million. Okay, so December 31, meron siyang entry. Debit expense, credit estimated liability na 2 million. In the draft of financial statements for the year ended December 31. On January 31, when the FS for the year ended has not yet been authorized for issue, so pasok siya sa events after the reporting period. The case was settled and paid by the entity 3 million. So yung 2 million, dapat 3 million yan. So may additional tayo na debit expense, credit estimated liability, 1 million para maging 3 million sila. So ang tanong yung additional, answer mo dyan, letter C, 1 million. Number 4. What total amount should be reported in the profit or loss? Okay, din daw dito yung adjusting events. GHI company is completing the preparation of the draft financial statements. On January 31, a dividend of 2 million. Any contractual profit sharing profit of 200,000 was made, both based on the profit for the year end December 31. Actually, kasi yung dividends, non-adjusting yan. Tama, example natin yan. Pero yung profit share na yan, adjusting yan. Kasi depende yan sa net income ng December 31. Okay, so yung profit sharing, 2 million, adjusting 200,000, adjusting event yan. On Feb 15, the customer went into liquidation. So bankruptcy, owed 900,000. So, lagyan natin, liquidation, 900,000, adjusting event din yan. On March 1, a manufacturing plant was destroyed by fire, non-adjusting yan. 200 plus 900, 1.1 million. Letter D for number 4. Let's go to related party disclosures. Alright, sir, ano mga examples of related parties? Related parties yan if one party influences the decision making of another party. Okay? So, ito yung mga examples. Meron tayong 6. Affiliates, pag mo affiliates, parent and subsidiary, related party yan. Associates naman, investor and associates. Venturers in joint venture, key management personnel. Yun yung top management natin. For example, CEO, CFO, ano pa, board of directors, mga ganyan. Close family members, nagbigay na examples sa close family members. So, ano yung mga close family members? Spouse, nakikita dito, spouse, children, and children's spouse. Okay? So, ulitin ko, close family members, examples sa standard spouse, children, and children's spouse. Post-employment benefits of employees, consider din siya as related party. Okay? So, lahat ng related parties and related party transactions, kailangan natin i-disclose. Yun lang yung point of related party disclosures. Number 1, related parties include the following. A, parent and subsidiary, yes. Affiliates. B, associates, yes. C, key management personnel and close family members, yes. Dog yung sagot dyan. All of the above are related parties. Number 2, unrelated parties. Pag wala sa listahan, unrelated. Alin daw dito yung unrelated? 2 entities simply because they have a common director. Wala naman sa listahan yan. Unrelated. Providers of finance or banks, unrelated. Customers, unrelated. Basta wala dyan, unrelated. Spouse, meron. Ito. Spouse, related dyan. Dog yung except. Because yung dog is a related party. Okay, next. Punta naman tayo sa interim reporting. Ano sir ibig sabihin ng interim reporting? Nagpe-prepare tayo ng financial statements shorter than 1 year or 12 months. So, pwedeng monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual. Right? Yung minimum requirements by the standards, kapag interim reporting, condensed financial statements. Pag sinabing condensed, less detailed. Alright? And then, selected explanatory notes. Kahit hindi kumpleto yung notes natin, okay lang. Ano yung mga basic principles? Same accounting policies yung i-apply natin. Kung ano yung ginagamit natin policies, sa December 21 FS, ganun din gagamitin natin for the interim reports. What else? For those na seasonal, and irregular transactions, 100% yung recognition yan kung kailan, anong interim period siya nag-occur. Alright? Pero yung mga OPEX na kaya natin i-estimate natin and allocate over the reporting or over the interim period. Alright? Sige. Let's go to our handouts. Number 1, which statement about interim is true? Punta ka dun sa C. An interim report may consist condensed set or complete set. Actually, class, OCC, pwede ka na mag-issue ng complete set of FS kahit interim. Okay lang yan. So, complete or condensed, so yun yung tama. No? So, letter C for number 1. Number 2, which of the following is incorrect about interim reporting? A, interim amount like prepaid property taxes that could later benefit later interim periods are allocated. Pag nagbe-benefit siya, sa future periods, i-allocate natin. Ito siya. Pag kaya natin estimate and allocate natin. The integral view and independent view are two approaches. Tama yan. No accrual or deferral, yes. A complete set is required, hindi condensed set lang. Letter D for number 2. Number 3, an entity has estimated that the total depreciation expense for the year ended December 31 will amount to 500,000. And that 2025 year-end bonuses total 1.2 million. Take note na nakalagay in the interim income statement for 6 months. Okay, so depreciation obviously pwede natin siyang i-estimate. Okay, so 6 months lang, 500,000 times 6 over 12, 250,000 in depreciation. Yung bonus natin, well, based on the whole year naman na performance yan, 1.2 million times 600,000. 1.2 million times 6 over 12, 600,000. So, total natin, 850,000, letter D for number 3. Number 4, what total amount of these expenses should be included in the quarterly income statement? On March 1, XYZ pay property taxes, 600,000. So, 600,000 divided by 4, kasi yung taxes for the whole year yan. Quarterly, so divide by 4, you get 150,000. Okay? On April 1, the entity paid 900,000 in unanticipated. Okay? Unanticipated daw, April 1. Ang tanong sa atin is quarterly income statement ng June 30. Pag sabi June 30, April, May, June, so pasok yan. Okay? 100% yung recognition yan kasi seasonal or irregular yan. So, plus mo dyan yung repairs na 900,000. 150,000 plus 900, you get 1,050,000. Letter A for number 4. Let's go to operating segments. Operating segments, basically, alamin natin which segments are reportable. Meron tayong 2 criteria, qualitative criteria and quantitative criteria. Ano yung quantitative criteria? Revenue test. If the segment's revenue is at least 10% of the total revenues, okay? Take note class na yung total dito, external plus internal or inter-segment. Lahat yan, external plus internal. Profit or loss test, yung profit or loss is at least 10% of the absolute amount, higher between profit or loss. Okay? Higher between the two. Asset test naman, the segment's asset is at least 10% of the total assets. Alright? So, yun yung mga quantitative criteria natin. Sa qualitative, wala siyang mga percentages, hindi kailangan nun. Basta useful for decision making, ang tawag natin dyan, management approach. Okay? Pag nalagay sa problem, useful sa decision making, o isama mo na yan, reportable agad, automatic yan. Meron din tayong overall size test wherein the external revenues is at least 75%. Okay? External revenues natin is at least 75% of the total revenues. Take note na yung total revenues dito, external lang. Hindi kasama yung inter-segment or internal revenues. Yung major customer, disclose natin siya. If 10% of external revenue, okay, 10% of total revenues na external lang. Hindi kasama yung internal. So, ulitin ko class. Pag revenue test, external plus internal. Pag overall size test, external lang. Pag major customer, external lang. Right? Let's go to our handouts, operating segments. Number 1, when is an operating segment reportable? Letter A, the segment's external and internal is 10%, right, of the total or more combined external and internal. That's correct. Letter A, tama yan. The segment's profit or loss is 10% or more between the combined profit or loss. Tama yan. Absolute amount natin yung loss. Letter C, the assets are 10% or more of the total assets. That's correct. Dog yung sagot natin. Under all of the following circumstances. Number 2, what is the quantitative threshold that must be disclosed by reportable operating segments? Yun yung overall size test. Ano yung sabi ko kanina? 75% of the total external lang. Okay, letter C. The total external is 75% or more of the entity's external revenue. Huwag mo sasama internal. How many reportable segments does X have? Okay, so that's for number 3. O, tingnan natin. Doon tayo sa revenue test. Okay? So yung revenue natin is 32,750,000 times 10%, 3,275,000. Ano yung papasok dyan? Si A, pasok. Si B, si C, si E. Okay, pasok sila dun sa revenue test. Profit or loss test, puro profit naman yan. 5.8 million times 10%, 580,000. Sino yung pasok sa profit test? Si A, si B, si C, and si E. Alright? And then yung asset test natin, 67.5 million times 10%, 6,750,000. Sino yung pasok dyan? Si A, si B, si C, si D, and si E. Okay, so pag consider mo lahat yan, ang hindi lang kasama is si F. So ibig sabihin, A, B, C, D, E, 5 yung reportable segments natin, letter C. Number 4, paano naman kapag profit or loss? May profit, may loss. What are the reportable segments based on profit or loss? So i-separate mo yan. Profit or loss. Si A, 3.4 million profit. Si B, 1 million. Si D, 400,000. So 4.8 million. Yung loss naman dito, 2 million si C, 200,000 si E, 2.2 million. So absolute amount. Higher si profit times 10%, 480,000 yung threshold natin. Sino yung pasok dyan? Si A, si B, si C kasi absolute amount, si D and si E hindi. So A, B, C, letter boy for number 4. And then number 5, what is the minimum amount of sales to a major customer? 10%. Tama, kapag major customer, 10% of external lang. Huwag mo isasama internal. ABC company is subject to the requirement of segment reporting. In its income statement for the current year, the entity reported revenue, 50 million, excluding intersegment or internal sales. So 50 million na, so yun yung total external natin. So yung external natin, 50 million. Pag major customer is 10%, times 10%, you have 5 million. Sagot natin for number 5 is letter A, minimum amount to major customer is 5 million. Number 6, what minimum amount of external revenues disclosed by reportable segment? Yun yung overall size test, 75% of the external. Ano yung external natin? 50 million. 75% ng 50 million. Okay, so 50 million times 0.75. Sagot mo dito, class, 37.5 million. For number 6, dog, yung sagot natin yan, 37.5 million. Let's continue our discussion. Let's go to non-current asset held for sale. If the carrying amount of a non-current asset can be principally recovered through sale, considered siya as non-current asset held for sale or NCA-HFS. Now, kapag naging NCA-HFS siya, meron tayong reclassification entry. Debit, for example, building. Debit building, held for sale, credit building. Nireclassify natin yung building into building held for sale. Okay? Now, since held for sale na siya, remember class na hindi na siya subject to depreciation. Not subject to depreciation. Paano natin i-measure yung building held for sale or non-current asset held for sale? So, tingnan mo muna yung carrying amount and the recoverable amount, which is equal to fair value less cost to sell, also called fair value less cost of disposal, whichever is lower. Alright? The difference between the two, i-charge natin to impairment loss. Alright? Sige, apply natin class. So go to our handouts. Number 1, a non-current asset held for sale is to be classified as held for sale because, punta ka sa A, the carrying amount will be recovered principally through sale rather than continuing use. Okay, letter A for number 1. Number 2, non-current asset or disposal group is classified as held for sale when the asset is available for immediate sale. Yun yung requirement na. Okay? In the present condition, and the sale is highly probable. For the sale to be highly probable, which of the following statements is incorrect? Alin daw dito yung ibig sabihin is highly probable? A, management must be committed to a plan to sell the asset, yes. B, an active program to locate the buyer, yes. The asset must be actively marketed, yes. Yung dog, hindi yan highly probable. The sale is expected to qualify for recognition as a completed sale within 1 year. 1 year lang dapat, right? From the date of classification of the asset as held for sale. An entity shall measure a non-current asset or disposal group classified as held for sale at lower between carrying amount and recoverable amount. Yung recoverable amount dito is the fair value less cost of disposal, right? And since held for sale siya, remember class na ang presentation mo dyan is current asset. Okay, current asset na siya. Let's go to problem solving. Number 4, 5 and 6. Number 4, what is the impairment loss? Number 5, what is the measurement of the equipment? And number 6, what is the loss on reclassification? Let's read the given. On December 31, CPA company classified as held for sale an equipment with a carrying amount of 5 million. On this date, the equipment is expected to be sold for 4.6 million. Disposal cost is expected to be 200,000. Kung pitin natin class, yung impairment loss, carrying amount, according to the problem, is 5 million. Recoverable amount or the fair value less cost of disposal, 4.6 million minus 200,000, so that is 4.4 million. Difference between the two is impairment loss, 600,000, letter A for impairment loss. Now, let's go to the next question. What is the measurement of the equipment? Punta tayo sa second paragraph. On December 31, 2026, the entity estimated that the equipment is expected to be sold for 4.3 million. Disposal cost of 50,000. The carrying amount was 4 million on December 31 if the non-current asset was not classified as held for sale. Punta doon sa last part of paragraph 1. on December 31, 2026, the equipment had not been sold and management after consideration, its options decided to place back the equipment into operation. So, from held for sale, ibabalik na sa regular na equipment. Okay? Ano yung measurement natin dyan? Well, ganun lang din. Yung carrying amount, which is according to the second paragraph, is 4 million. And then yung recoverable amount, that is 4.3 million minus 50,000. So that is 4 to 50,000. Lower between the two, 4 million yung sagot natin dyan. Boy, okay? Pag binalik mo siya sa original classification niya, lower between carrying amount and fair value less cost of disposal. What is the loss on reclassification? Talagyan ko na entry. Debit equipment, which is 4 million. Credit non-equipment held for sale, which is 4.4 million. Meron tayong loss on reclassification, 400,000. Letter C for number 6. Let's go to discontinued operations. Discontinued operations, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, class, is component or segment of an entity. Okay? Yung sa non-current asset held for sale, ang pinag-uusapan natin, assets. Ito naman, component or segment. Ano sure yung mga kailangan tandaan dyan? Paano natin i-measure carrying amount and recoverable amount, which is equal to fair value less cost of disposal, whichever is lower. The difference between the two, charge mo yan sa impairment loss. Actually, same concept lang siya dito. Right? Now, for presentation, tingin ka muna dun sa statement of comprehensive income. In the statement of comprehensive income, magpe-present tayo ng single amount. Isang amount lang ha, single, which contains after tax, okay, profit or loss, tandaan mo, whole year dapat to. Whole year. Okay, buong taon, January 1 to December 31. Hindi from date of discontinued operations up to December 31. Hindi ganun. Whole year from January 1 to December 31. After tax, P&L, and plus minus, after tax, laging after tax ha, gain or loss on measurement. Okay? So yung gain or loss on measurement natin, basically, nandiyan yung impairment loss plus gain or loss on disposal. Okay, so para mas malinaw, mamaya i-apply natin sa handouts yan. Now, doon naman sa statement of financial position, ihiwalay mo yung assets and liabilities ng discontinued operations. Yung assets na yan, magiging current assets lahat. Liabilities, magiging current liabilities lahat. Okay, para mas ma-appreciate nyo, apply natin sa handouts. Discontinued operations, number 1, the results of discontinued operations should be presented in a single amount in income statement or statement of comprehensive income. After tax, separate from income from continuing operations. So, meron kang income from discontinued operations, letter C. Number 2, if the fair value less cost of sale is, or the recoverable amount is lower than the carrying amount, the difference is impairment loss. Letter C for number 2. Let's go to number 3. Okay, what amount should be reported as pre-tax loss from discontinued operations? Okay. On May 1, GHI Company approved a plan to dispose of business segment. Take note, May 1. Okay, hindi January 1, May 1. It is expected that the sale will occur on March 31, 2026. On December 31, the carrying amount 2 million. Fair value less cost of disposal 1.8 million. Tama ba, class? Yung carrying amount natin is 2 million. Recoverable amount is 1.8 million. Therefore, meron tayong impairment loss na 200,000. Now, during 2025, the entity paid employee severance and relocation cost expense yan, 100,000. The revenue and expenses of the discontinued segment, tingnan mo, class, hiniwalay. January 1 to April 30 and May 1 to December 31. Sabi ko kanina, hinighlight ko dito, whole year. Okay? Hindi relevant sa atin yung May 1 dito. Okay? So, sige, class, complete natin yung revenues. 1.5 million plus 700, that's 2.2 million. And then yung expenses natin, 2 million minus, 2 million plus 900,000, that's 2.9 million. Tama ba, class? Operating loss natin, 2.2 million revenues. Expenses natin, 2.9 million. Meron tayong 700,000 na operating loss. Okay, so ganito, class, yung magiging sagot natin dyan. What amount should be reported as pre-tax loss? Lahat ng loss. Meron tayong impairment loss, na compute earlier, 200,000. Meron tayong yung severance and relocation cost. Lagi ko na lang relocation cost expense yan, which is 100,000. And dyan may operating loss tayo na 700,000. Okay, so add natin lahat yan. 200 plus 100 plus 700, that is 1 million. Loss from discontinued operations, letter A, 1 million. Okay. Next is accounting changes. We have two types of accounting changes. Change in accounting estimate and change in accounting policy. If change in accounting estimate, alam natin, class, this is accounted for currently and prospectively. Hindi makaka-affect sa prior years. Right? So yung effect yan sa P&L. While yung change in accounting policy, accounted for retrospectively. Ibig sabihin, yung prior years maapektuhan yan. So, kailangan natin mag-restate ng financial statements and lahat ng gain or loss, i-charge natin sa retained earnings. Okay? So, magbigay tayo ng examples. Ano yung mga common examples of change in accounting estimate? Estimation of doubtful accounts. Ano pa? Estimation of warranty costs. Okay? Net realizable value of inventory. Ano pa? For PPE, yung depreciation method. What else? Useful life, residual value. Okay? Pag nag-change yan, change in depreciation method, change in useful life, change in residual value, change in accounting estimate. Accounted for currently, current year, and future years. Okay naman, example of change in accounting policy, change in inventory model. Okay, so for example, class, from FIFO naging WAVE, or WAVE naging FIFO. What else? PPE, let's say, from cost model, nag-change to revaluation model. Investment property, let's say, from cost model, nag-change to fair value model. These are examples of change in accounting policy. Apply natin, class. Number 1, which statement is in relation to change in accounting estimate is true. Okay? Punta ka, tingnan natin mga choices. A, change in accounting estimate is accounted for retrospectively. Mali. Prospectively. Currently and prospectively yan. B, yung sagot dyan. Change in accounting estimate results from new information. Okay, yan yung tama dyan sa choices. Tingnan natin ibang choices. Letter C, by very nature, the revision of an estimate relates to prior periods. Mali, policy dapat yan. All these statements are true. Boy, yung sagot natin for number 1. Number 2, under IFRS, a change in accounting estimate is accounted for currently and prospectively. Okay, letter D, prospectively in the period of change, or yung current year and future periods. Change in accounting policy are reported on a retrospective. So yung number 2 is dog. Okay, prospectively in the period of change. Number 3, change in accounting policy are reported, boy, on a retrospective basis. Mga niya is yung retained earnings natin. Okay. Number 4, a change in accounting policy requires the cumulative effect of the change should be shown as adjustment to beginning retained earnings, letter A for number 4. Okay, so wala tayo sa problem solving. Number 5. So this is change in, I think, change in useful life and depreciation, and yes, useful life. On January 1, 2021, JKL company purchased equipment 4 million. The equipment had the useful life of 10 years and the residual value of 400,000. On January 1, 2025, ilang years yun? 21, 22, 23, 24. So after 4 years, nagkaroon ng change in accounting estimate. The entity determined that the useful life of the equipment was 12 years from the date of acquisition. Residual value is 480,000. Gagawin ko dyan, class, kukopitin ko muna yung carrying amount as of the date or as of the date na nagkaroon ng change in estimate. Okay? So yung cost natin is 4 million. Computin natin yung accumulated depreciation. So 4 million yung cost, residual value here is 400,000, useful life is 10 years, times 4 kasi 4 years na yung nakakalipas, right? So 4 million minus 400,000 divided by 10 times 4, you have 1,440,000. Therefore, yung carrying amount natin, 4 million minus 1,440,000, 2,560,000. Ito yung carrying amount natin as of January 1, 2025. Okay? And then, apply natin yung new estimates natin. Sabi dyan, the residual value is 480,000. So, 2,560,000. How much daw yung carrying amount of the equipment on January 1, 2025? Sagot mo na dyan is 2,560,000 for number 5, letter A. Number 6, what is the depreciation of the equipment? Well, 2,560,000. I-minus ko yung bagong residual value na 480,000. And then yung bagong useful life na 12 years. Pero nakalipas na yung 4 years. So, 8 na lang gagamitin natin dyan. 2,560,000 minus 480,000, divide natin by 8. Okay, divide by 8. Depreciation natin, class, is 260,000 B. Easy. Okay. Number 7. What is the depreciation for 2025? On January 1, 2024, CBA company purchased a machine for 2,750,000. Yun yung cost natin. The machine was depreciated using some of the years digits method based on the useful life of 10 years. No residual value. On January 1, 2025, after 1 year, nag-switch to straight line. What is the depreciation? Okay, so meron tayong cost na 2,750,000. Compute natin yung accumulated depreciation, some of the years digits. So, gamitin natin yung SYD denominator, useful life, times useful life plus 1 over 2. So, how much yan? Useful life natin is 10 years, times 11 over 2. 10 times 11 is 110, divided by 2, that is 55. Okay, so ang gagawin ko dyan, class, paano natin makakompute yung depreciation for 1 year? So, meron tayong 2,750,000 na cost, wala daw residual value, multiply natin by 10, kasi 10 yung useful life, over 55. Okay, 2,750,000 times 10 over 55, that is 500,000. Yan yung accumulated depreciation natin. Carrying amount, 2,750 minus 500, that's 2,250,000. Okay? And then, straight line method tayo. Wala namang useful life, i-divide natin, wala namang residual value, divide natin by useful life. 10 years, nakalipas na yung 1 year, so ibig sabihin, divide natin by 9. 2,250,000, divided by 9, sagot mo dyan, class, 250,000, letter C for number 7. Number 8. This is change in accounting policy. What pre-tax amount should be reported in the 2025 statement of changes in equity as the cumulative effect of change in accounting policy? ABC company had used the FIFO method since it began its operations. The entity decided to change to weighted average. So FIFO, naging weighted average. Okay? The entity provide the following year-end inventory. So, ganito yung class. Ang titingnan mo lang dyan yung current year, okay, na 2024. Right? Kasi in 2020, 2023, nag-o-offset yan. Okay? Nag-o-offset yan sa retained earnings. Huwag mo napansinin yan. Okay? Sa 2024, from 8.3, naging 7.8. Tama ba, class? Bumaba ng 500,000. Okay, so sagot mo dyan, letter A, 500,000 decrease. Again, kapag ganyan, FIFO to wave or wave to FIFO, yung last year lang yung titignan mo. Okay? Number 9. How should this accounting change be reported in 2025? During 2025, BSA company changed from cost recovery to percentage of completion. Karoon tayo ng change in policy. Okay, the tax rate is 30%. Gross profit figures are. So take note, class, na 2025 nagkaroon change in policy. Ang magiging effect niyan yung prior years. So 2023 and 2024 lang. Huwag mo nang papansinin yung 2025 na column. Alright? So ibig sabihin, class, sa 2023, tama ba? Sa 2023 and 2024, sa cost recovery, add natin yan. 950,000 sa 2023, plus natin sa 1,250,000, 2.2 million. Okay? Under cost recovery method. Under percentage of completion method, add natin yan. So ito yung cost recovery. So, cost recovery for 2023 and 2024. Okay, so inad lang natin. So, 950 plus 1,250. So, percentage of completion naman, 1.6 million plus 1.9 million. So, that is 3.5 million. Okay? So, from cost recovery to percentage of completion, so tataas ka ng 1.3 billion, pero take note class, dapat after tax yan. Okay? Multiply natin by yung tax rate dito is 30%, multiply mo by 70%. 1.3 billion times 0.7, that gives you 910,000. Increase na 910,000. So, mo dito class, letter D, 910,000 increase in retained earnings. Alright, next. Let's go to correction of errors. So, pinag-uusapan natin dito class, yung prior period errors. So, may two types tayo, counterbalancing and non-counterbalancing. When you say counterbalancing, nag-auto-correct siya. Okay, auto-correct after 2 years. Alright? Non-counterbalancing, hindi nag-auto-correct after 2 years. Yun yung difference nila. Ano mga examples yan? Counterbalancing, accruals, deferrals, prepayments, and lahat ng inventory transactions, for example, purchase and sale. Okay? And take note, kapag counterbalancing, may mirror effect tayo. Later papakita ko, may mirror effect tayo to next year. Right? Pag non-counterbalancing, ang maganda examples yan is omission of journal entry, hindi nakapag-journal entry, and then improper classification. For example, PPE dapat chinarge sa expense. Improper classification yan. Okay? Non-counterbalancing yan. So yeah, let's go to our handouts. Correction of errors. Number 1, which of the following situations should an entity report a prior period adjustment? Yung A, B, and C, lahat yan change in estimate yan. Alright? Yung A and B. Yung dog dito, yung prior period adjustment. The correction of a mathematical error in the calculation of prior year's depreciation. Pinag-usapan natin is prior period error. Dog for number 1. Number 2, if at the end of current reporting period, an entity excluded some goods from ending inventory and also erroneously did not record the purchase, okay, ano yung magiging effect niyan? Well, kapag hindi mo in-include sa ending inventory, ang mangyayari dyan class, bababa yung net income mo. Tama ba? Kaya lang, hindi mo rin in-include sa purchases. So, ibig sabihin, tataas net income mo. Net effect niyan is 0. Right? Sagot mo dyan class actually is C. No effect on net income, working capital, and retained earnings. Letter C for number 2. 3, 4, and 5. So, tingnan natin class. This is correction of errors. Problem solving tayo. Meron tayong 2 years, 2024 and 2025. Okay, number 3, what is the effect of errors? Net income 2024. Number 4, 2025. And number 5, effect on retained earnings. Okay, so ganito gagawin mo dyan class. 2024 and 2025. So yung first adjustment natin, December 31, 2024, inventory overstated. Alam natin class, ending inventory, directly related dyan sa net income. Kung overstated, mag-minus ka 35,000. And then magmi-mirror ka kapag counterbalancing. Counterbalancing yan, inventory yan. Magmi-mirror ka plus 35,000. Number 2, December 31, 2025, inventory understated. So plus 10,000 sa 2025. Number 3, depreciation for 2024 is overstated. So sumobra yung depreciation natin sa 2024, add mo yan, 24,000. Walang mirror yan kasi non-counterbalancing yan. Depreciation is understated for 2025, 8,000. So ibig sabihin, kulang yung depreciation, so minus tayo sa net income, 8,000. Number 5, December 31, prepaid insurance understated. Pag understated yung prepaid insurance, overstated yung insurance expense. So ibig sabihin class, mataas yung insurance expense, add natin, 5,000. Number 6, December 31, 2025, unearned rent income overstated. Sobra-sobra yung unearned. So, ibig sabihin, yung revenue natin understated. So, plus tayo, 40,000, 4,000. And then, number 7, accrued salaries understated. Salaries expense natin kulang. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, minus 20,000 tayo dyan. Alright, so, open natin class. 35,000 negative. And then, 24,000 positive. And 5,000 positive. So, this is negative. So, 35,000. This is 25,000 pala ito class. 25,000. Ulit natin. 35,000 negative. 25,000 positive and 5,000 positive, you have negative 5,000. Okay? And then next natin, 35,000 plus 10,000 minus 8,000 plus 4,000 minus 20,000, you have, so dito natin, 35,000 plus 10 minus 8,000. So balik tayo kasi sa number 5. Yung number 5 is a prepayment, no? So prepayment siya. So ibig sabihin, meron siyang mirror. Okay, nakalimutan ko mag-mirror. So plus, may minus 5,000 tayo dyan. Okay, so dito natin, 35,000 plus 10,000 minus 8,000 minus 5,000. Plus 4,000 and minus 20,000. So, good dito class. Teka, plus. Ulit. Last one. Okay, 35,000 plus 10 minus 8,000. Okay, minus 5,000 plus 4,000 minus 20,000. That's 16,000. Okay, positive 16,000. Sagot natin class. Number 3, what is the effect on the errors in net income for 2024? Kailangan daw, para makorek yung error, magma-minus 5,000 tayo para makorek. So, ibig sabihin, overstated yan na 5,000. Kasi kailangan mo i-minus eh. Dog for number 3. Sa 2025 naman, kailangan mo mag-plus para makorek. So, kailangan mo mag-plus, ibig sabihin, understated. For number 4, A, 16,000, understated. What is the effect on retained earnings? Yung net effect nan, positive 16, negative 5, so that is positive 11,000. Kailangan natin mag-add ng 11,000 sa retained earnings. Ibig sabihin, yung RE natin is understated. Letter A for number 5, 11,000, understated. Okay? Sige, so, let's go to next topic, book value per share. So, book value per share, basically, during liquidation, how much yung ma-receive ng mga ordinary shareholders. Formula natin, total shareholders equity divided by number of outstanding shares. Okay? Now, nagpapakomplicate dito yung characteristics or features of preference shares. Cumulative, ibig sabihin, entitled sa dividends in arrears, non-cumulative, participating, and non-participating. If the problem is silent, non-cumulative and non-participating. Okay, so meron tayong format na ginagamit sa book value per share. Sige, so apply natin yan. Let's go to our handouts. Book value per share, number 1. Total shareholders' equity divided by number of shares outstanding represents the letter C, book value per share. Okay? Number 2, the cumulative features of preference shares. So, pag cumulative features, punta ka sa BOY. Okay? Ibig sabihin, entitled dyan sa dividends in arrears, yung preferred shareholders natin. BOY yan, requires the dividends not paid in any year, yung dividends in arrears, must be made up in a later year before dividends are distributed to ordinary shareholders. Number 3, in the absence of liquidation value, the preferred shareholder shall receive what amount in the event of liquidation par value. Okay? Letter BOY for number 3. Okay, so, apply natin class sa problem solving. What is the book value per ordinary share? So, kung alala mo class, may format tayo dyan, excess. Meron tayong preferred shares and ordinary shares. Right? So, 5% cumulative. So, ingat ka, cumulative. Ibig sabihin, entitled sa dividends in arrears, 2.5 million. Lagyan mo yung par value yan. Okay? Ordinary shares, 3.5 million. And then, yung excess natin, yung share premium and retained earnings, 1,250 plus 3 million, 4,250,000. Alright, dividends in arrears amounted to 250,000. So, sinabi na, dividends in arrears, 250. Divide mo na yan sa preferred shareholders natin. And then, sabi dyan, if the entity were to be liquidated, the preference shareholders would receive par value plus a premium of 500,000. Liquidation value yan. Minus 500, lagay mo yan sa preference shareholders. Okay? So yung remaining excess natin, 4,250,000 minus 250,000 minus 500,000, that is 3.5 million. 3.5 million, bibigay mo na yan lahat sa ordinary shareholders. 3.5 plus 3.5, 7 million. Divide mo yan sa number of shares outstanding. 100,000, 7 million divided by 100,000, that is 70 pesos. Book value per share natin is 70 pesos. Alright. Next, number 5. Okay, number 5 is what was amount of dividends payable to ordinary shareholders? Number 5, an entity reported the following outstanding share capital. 30,000 shares of 10% cumulative preference share or cumulative, fully participating as to dividends. No dividends were in arrears and 200,000 ordinary shares with par value of 10 pesos. So, compute mo natin class yung par value ng preference shares. It's 30,000 times 100. 30,000 times 100, 3 million. Par value of ordinary shares, 200,000 times 10, that is 2 million. So, yung format natin, may excess tayo, may preference shares, may ordinary shares. Sabi dyan, may dividends daw na i-declare na 1 million. So, how much daw yung dividends na marireceive ng ordinary shareholders? So, solve natin pareho. Yung 1 million dividends, bigyan mo natin ng dividends si preferred shares. Right? So, yung 1 million dividends natin na yan, preferred shares, 30,000 times 100 par value. So, kinukompute yung dividends for preference shares. Right? So, ang gagawin ko lang dyan, 3 million times ilang percent yung dividends? 10%. So, that is 300,000. So, bigyan natin ng 300,000 si preference shares. And then, kapag fully participating, bigyan mo muna ng fixed rate si ordinary shares. Okay? So, how much yun? 2 million, 10% din gagamitin mo. Times 10%, 200,000. So, bigyan natin ng dividends si ordinary shareholders, 200,000 plus 200,000. And then, yung natitirang dividends, 1 million minus 300 minus 200, that's 500,000. Allocate natin using their par value. Okay? 500,000 times 3 over 5, this is 300,000. Ibig sabihin, 200,000 yung kay ordinary shareholders or 500,000 times 2 over 5. 200 plus 200, that is 400,000. Yung sagot natin dyan, letter C. Okay, so that's letter C. Okay, so next nating class is earnings per share. For earnings per share, we have two types, no? Basic EPS and diluted EPS. So for basic EPS, formula natin, net income minus preferred dividends, or ito yung net income available to ordinary shareholders, i-divide natin by number of outstanding shares. Yun yung basic EPS. Kapag diluted naman, as if approach yung gagamitin natin. As if, applicable yan sa three types of securities. Number 1 is convertible preference shares or preference shares, pwede natin i-convert into ordinary shares. As if kinonvert siya, January 1. Alright? So, ang effect niya, kinonvert siya January 1, walang preferred dividends. No preferred dividends. Wala niyan. Convertible bonds, yung bonds, ko-convert sa ordinary shares. Ang assumption natin, as if kinonvert siya, so hypothetical scenarios tayo, ang gagawin mo dyan, add back interest expense, net of tax. Alright? Kapag naman options or warrants, treasury share method yung i-apply natin. Okay? Sige. So, let's go to the handouts. EPS, number 1. EPS shall be computed on the basis of, punta ka sa DOG, average ordinary shares outstanding during the year. Actually, ito class, kapag may mga change in resources during the year, nag-issue ng shares, mga ganyan, weighted average yung gagamitin mo dyan sa denominator. Letter D for number 1. In computing basic EPS, the amount of dividends on non-cumulative, okay, preference shares should be, so tingnan mo muna class, yung preference shares kapag cumulative or non-cumulative. Kapag cumulative, ang gagawin mo dyan class is whether declared or not. Alright? Kapag cumulative, whether declared or not, ima-minus mo yan. Pero current year dividends lang. Kapag non-cumulative, dapat nag-declare bago ka mag-minus. Okay? Sige, kaya nakalagay dyan, pag non-cumulative, number 2, boy, sagot mo dyan, deducted from net income only when declared. Yung A, yan yung cumulative. Deducted from net income, whether declared or not. Okay, number 3, in the computation of weighted average number of shares, when there is a share split, the additional shares are, kapag may mga stock dividends or share split, retroactive yung effect niyan. Dog for number 3, considered outstanding at the beginning of the earliest years reported. Number 4, the purpose of diluted EPS. Ano yung purpose nito? Para mapakita natin yung lowest possible EPS. Letter D, show the maximum possible dilution of earnings. Dog for number 4. Number 5, the as if converted method of computing diluted EPS. Conversion of convertible bonds as of, so beginning of the earliest period or time of issuance if later. Okay? So January 1 or kapag during the year nag-issue ng convertible bonds, kung kailan nag-issue, yun ibig sabihin yan. Letter A for number 5. Let's go to number 6. Computation tayo, basic EPS for number 6. What amount should be recorded as basic EPS? Net income minus preferred dividends over number of shares. Okay, so let's read. On January 1, Pinnacle Company had 60,000 ordinary shares issued and outstanding. During 2025, no additional shares were issued. Okay, on January 1, 2025, the entity issued 40,000 non-convertible preference shares. During 2025, okay, the entity declared 210,000 on the ordinary share and 120,000 on the preference share. The net income for the current year was 70,000. Net income natin is 70,000. And then, i-minus natin class, yung current year dividends na 120. Divide natin by number of outstanding shares according to the first sentence. It's 60,000. So, compute natin yung basic EPS. 70,000 minus 120,000. Divide natin by 60,000. Answer mo dito, 10.5. Letter A for number 6. Number 7, computation ng weighted average number of shares. Question is, what is the weighted average number of shares outstanding for the current year? Basically, in yung denominator natin. Okay? Business Accounting Company provided the following share transactions. January 1, shares outstanding, 44,000. January 1 yan, so 12 over 12. Next, issued for cash, Feb 1, 56,000. Feb to December, 11 over 12. Treasury shares, negative yan. Okay, negative 25,000. May, so times 8 over 12. 25% share dividend. So, affected na yung mga retroactive yung effect niyan. Times 1.25. Times 1.25 times 1.25. Resold treasury shares. So, nag-re-issue tayo ng treasury shares, positive yan. 10,000, September, October, November, December, so times 4 over 12. And then, nagkaroon ng share split, retroactive din yan, times 3. 341 daw, times 3, times 3, times 3. Okay, so, complete natin class. Sige, so 44,000 times 12 over 12 times 1.25 times 3, this is 165,000. 56,000 times 11 over 12 times 1.25 times 3, 192,500. Next, 25,000 times 8 over 12 times 1.25 times 3, you have 62,500. Take note, negative treasury shares. And then last one, 10,000 times 4 over 12 times 3, you have 10,000. Add natin lahat yan, 165,000 plus 192,500 minus 62,500 plus 10,000, you have 305,000. Letter A, 305,000. Okay, diluted EPS naman tayo. So, tingnan natin class. Number 8. Okay, so this is convertible preference shares. Okay, pag convertible preference shares, ang effect niyan, wala tayong preferred dividends. As if na-convert yung preferred shares natin at the beginning of the year. Right? So, 8, what is the basic EPS? Number 9, what is the diluted EPS? On January 1, basic muna tayo. So, net income minus preferred dividends over number of shares. So, let's read. On January 1, ABC Company had 100,000 ordinary shares outstanding. In addition, on January 1, the entity had 10,000 convertible cumulative, okay, 5% preference shares with 100 par. These preference shares were converted on September 1. Each preference share was converted into 6 ordinary shares. Net income, 2 million. Net income, okay, 2 million minus preferred dividends, sabi sa problem, well, computin natin yung preferred dividends. Punta ka dun sa second sentence, sa first paragraph. Tama ba? 10,000, yung convertible preference shares. Multiply natin by par value, 10,000 times 100 na par value times 5%. So, ibig sabihin, 50,000 yun yung preferred dividends natin. So, ulitin ko class. Na-compute ko to, 10,000 shares times par, 100 times 5%, 50,000. Number of outstanding shares natin, actually, nagkaroon ng conversion. So, weighted average yung gagamitin mo dyan. 100,000 yung beginning sa first sentence times 12 over 12, that's 100,000. And then, sabi dyan class, punta ka dun sa second paragraph, second sentence. Each preference share was converted to 6. Ilan ba yung preference shares? 10,000 times 6, 60,000. 60,000, kailan kinonvert? September, October, November, December, times 4 over 12. 60,000 times 4 over 12, you get 20,000. So, ibig sabihin class, weighted average natin, 120,000. So, lagyan natin sa denominator yan. Copy natin yung basic EPS, 2 million minus 50,000 divided by 120,000. So, good mo dyan class is, ulit, 2 million minus 50,000 divided by 120,000. Answer natin, 16.25, letter D or dog. Doon naman tayo sa diluted EPS as if na-convert at the start. So, ibig sabihin, wala na yan. So, net income natin, 2 million, wala kang minus preferred dividend, 0 yan, over number of shares. So, as if at the start, so wala kang 4 over 12. Gagamitin mo dyan, 160,000. So, lagyan natin, 160,000. 2 million divided by 160,000. Sagot mo dyan, class, is 12.5, letter A. Okay? Letter A, 12.5. Number 10, convertible bonds naman. Add back natin yung interest expense. Don't forget the net of tax yan, right? On July 1, ingat ka, July 1, middle of the year, company issued 20 million, 7% convertible bonds. Each 1,000 bonds is convertible into 1 ordinary share. No bonds were converted. Compute natin agad class yung additional shares. So, sabi dyan, tama ba? 20 million, divide natin by 1,000. Okay, for every 1,000, na-convert daw into 2. shares. Alright? And July 1 yan. So times 6 over 12. Complete natin yung madadagdag na shares. 20 million divided by 1,000 times 2 times 6 over 12. That is 20,000. Okay? And then, add back natin yung interest expense, net of tax. 20 million, multiply natin by 7%, which is the interest rate. Multiply natin by 70% kasi according to the last sentence, income tax rate was 30%. Times 70%, so times 6 over 12. Okay, ingat ka kasi July 1 yan. 20 million times 7% times 0.7 times 6 over 12, that gives you 490,000. Okay, so compute natin yung diluted EPS. Net income natin in the given, according to the last sentence, 6 million. Add back natin yung interest expense na 490,000. Yung denominator natin, beginning, meron tayong ilan yung shares natin. According to the second paragraph, 200,000 yung ordinary shares, nadagdag tayo ng 20,000. Alright? So, gagawin ko dyan, 6 million plus 490,000, i-divide ko siya by 220,000. 220,000, sagot dito, 29.5. Answer class, letter C, 29.5. Okay, last one is options or warrants. Treasury share method. Okay, treasury share, ibig sabihin, ang assumption, nire-acquire natin. So, paano yan? Okay, what amount should be reported as diluted EPS? GHI company had 100,000 ordinary shares outstanding throughout the current year. In addition, at the beginning of current year, the entity had share options to purchase 40,000. So, gagawin ko yung class. Issued natin 40,000. Okay, pag in-exercise ng mga employees. Multiply natin by, the option exercise price is 10. So, ibig sabihin, makaka-receive tayo ng cash na 400,000. Take note, point of view ni corporation. Right? Ngayon, yung 400,000 na yan, ipang-re-acquire natin yan, kaya treasury shares. Gamitin natin yung average, divide mo sa 16. 400,000 divided by 16. You get 25,000. Ito yung treasury shares natin. So, issued 40,000, treasury shares na 25,000. So, yung denominator na gagamitin natin class is 65,000. Alright? So, yes, 65,000. Sorry, treasury shares minus yan. So, issued na 40 minus 25, 15,000. Siyempre minus kasi treasury shares. So, net income in the problem is 2 million. Wala namang preferred dividends dito over number of outstanding shares. According to the first sentence, may 100,000 tayo. And then yung incremental shares, ang tawag dyan incremental shares, ito yung free shares. Yung libre na shares, 15,000. Okay? So, 2 million, divide natin by 115,000, yung denominator, that gives you 17.39. 17.39, answer natin class for number 11, letter A. Okay. 3 topics to go. Okay, next. SMEs. Okay, sir, kailan magka-qualify yung isang entity as SMEs? If the total assets between 3 million to 350 million or yan ha, total liabilities between 3 million and 250 million. Ang assumption mo dyan, may equity na difference nila 350 minus 250, 100 million. And dapat walang public accountability. Okay, so kapag ganyan, ang gagamitin mo dyan, PFRS for SMEs. Alright, next. Kailan naman siya hindi SMEs? Well, kapag sumobra siya sa threshold, beyond threshold. Or ibig sabihin, sumobra siya dun sa 350 million and 250 million. Ang tawag sa kanila large entities or with public accountability. Okay? Kapag public accountability or sumobra sa threshold, full PFRS yung gagamitin mo. Paano natin, sir, malaman kami pag public accountability? Kapag listed company siya sa Philippine Stock Exchange, in the process of IPO or initial public offering, public utilities, so for example, Meralco, mga ganyan. With fiduciary capacity, for example, banks and insurance companies. So pag ganyan, automatic, full PFRS yan. Okay? Now, sir, ano yung differences between PFRS for SMEs and full PFRS? So ito yung differences niya. So sa investments, pag equity, pwede mo lang siyang i-classify as FVPL. Kapag naman debt, pwede mo lang siya i-classify as amortized cost. Okay? Pag naman investment associate and joint venture, merong 3 allowed na methods. Equity method, cost method, and fair value method. For investment property, by default, fair value model yung gagamitin natin. Research and development, 100% expense yan. Hindi ka magkakapitalize sa development cost. Goodwill and other intangible asset. Ang assumption dito, finite life. So, ibig sabihin, mag-amortize tayo, amortization, maximum of 10 years. Alright? Borrowing cost, hindi tayo pwede mag-capitalize. 100% expense yan. Employee benefits, lahat ng actuarial gains or losses, alam natin sa full PFRS, napupunta na OCI yan. Sa PFRS for SMEs, may option yung entity, pwedeng PNL or OCI. Sa financial statements naman, same lang. May statement of financial position, comprehensive income, cash flows, equity, and meron ding statement of income and retained earnings. Okay? So, pwedeng ang kapalit yan ng statement of comprehensive income and statement of changes in equity. So, ulitin ko class. Same lang yung set of FS, pero may option yung SME na mag-prepare ng statement of income and retained earnings. Okay? Kapalit niyan yung statement of comprehensive income and changes in equity. Okay, let's go to our handouts. Number 1, which of the following would qualify as SME? A, entity that has total assets between 3 million to 350, yes. B, total liabilities between 3 million to 250, yes. Entity does not have public accountability, yes. Dog yan. All of the above could qualify as SME. Number 2, which of the following is considered as having public accountability? Companies listed in the stock exchange, yes. And in the process of IPO, yes. Public utilities, yes. And with fiduciary capacity, dog tayo dyan, all of the above. Which of the following are true? A, investment equity securities can be only classified as FPPL, yes. Yan siya. Next natin, investment in debt securities can be classified as amortized cost, investment associated in joint venture, equity cost, and fair value model. Letter D, all of the above. Number 4, which of the following are true for PFRs for SMEs? Investment properties, by default, fair value model gagamitin mo dyan, hindi cost model. Research and development, always expense, 100% expense. Goodwill and intangible assets, finite life, mag-amortize tayo, maximum 10 years. Which of the following are true? So dog for number 4. Number 5, which of the following are true? Borrowing costs are always expense? Yes, 100% expense, hindi ka pwede mag-capitalize. B, an SME may report actuarial gains and losses in P&L or OCI? Yes. C, an SME may prepare statement of income and retained earnings or SIRE in lieu of statement of comprehensive income and changes in equity. All of the above, dog for number 5. Okay, let's go to basic accounting concepts. So, tingnan mo natin class yung regulatory body. I-compare natin yung international and local. Regulatory body, sa international perspective is the IASB. Ang dating tawag sa IASB is IASC. Right? So, in the Philippines, ang local counterpart niya is the FSRSC. Okay? Ang dating tawag dyan is FSRC and ASC. Right? Now, so locally, i-assist si FSRSC ni PIC or Philippine Interpretations Committee and the Board of Accountancy or BOA. Yan yung mag-a-assist kay FSRSC. Okay? Standards naman, si IASB, nag-i-issue siya ng IFRS. Ang dating tawag sa IFRS was IAS. In the Philippines, pag in-adapt natin yan, PFRS. Or ang dating tawag dyan is PAS. Alright, so, and also, meron tayong accounting cycle. Very important dyan sa basic accounting. Number 1, step 1, 10 steps yan. Identifying, analyzing business transactions. Number 2, journalizing. So, ito yung may journal entry tayo. Okay? Basically, magre-record tayo sa journals. And posting naman, from journals, ipopost natin sa ledger. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng posting. Unadjusted trial balance. Ibig sabihin, before adjusting entries, kaya unadjusted. And after that, pwede tayo mag-prepare ng adjusting entries, pwede tayo mag-prepare ng adjusted trial balance. And then after that, financial statements, statement of financial position, statement of comprehensive income, statement of cash flows, changes in equity, and notes to financial statements. And then after that, prepare tayo ng closing entries. Alam natin class, yung kinu-close natin, income statement items. Next is post-closing trial balance, and next is reversing entries. Reversing entries, optional yan. Ginagamit siya, or pinaperform siya every January 1. Okay? Let's answer our handouts. Basic accounting concepts. Number 1, an independent private sector that develops and approves the IFRS, IASB, letter C. IASB, an International Accounting Standards Board. Number 2, the accounting standards setting body in the Philippines, FSRSC, Financial and Sustainability Reporting Standards Council, letter A. The following are the steps in the accounting cycle: identifying, and analyzing, and journalizing business transactions, yes, steps 1 and 2. Journalizing and posting, yes, kasama lahat yan. All of the above are steps in accounting cycle. Dog for number 3. Number 4, following steps are in the accounting cycle: preparing an adjusted trial balance, yes, preparing adjusting entries, preparing adjusted trial balance, all of the above for number 4. And last one, the following are the steps: preparing FS, closing entries, post-closing trial balance. All of the above are steps. Dog for number 5. Last one na class, revised conceptual framework. Revised conceptual framework is a set of concepts and guidance. Okay, hindi yan standards. Okay, set of concepts and guidance lang yan. Again, hindi siya accounting standard. Meron siyang 8 chapters. Isa-isay natin class kung ano yung mga important sa per chapter na yan. First chapter is objective of financial reporting. Ano ba yung objective natin? To provide financial info, yung keyword dito is useful, right? To the users in making decisions. So basically, ina-assist natin yung users natin. Pag sabing financial reporting, ibig sabihin lang yan, financial statements. Okay? Ina-assist natin yung users. Ano ba ibig sabihin? Sino ba yung mga users? Actually, according to the revised conceptual framework, yung users, dalawa yan. Meron tayong primary users and other users. Yung primary, yan yung investors and creditors. Pag sinabing other, yan yung hindi investors and creditors. For example, suppliers, government, management, employees, yung mga ganun. In making decisions. Doon naman tayo sa qualitative characteristics of useful information. Dalawa yung class. Fundamental, qualitative characteristics, and enhancing. Sa fundamental, nandyan yung relevance and faithful representation. Ang ibang tawag sa faithful representation is reliability. Okay, sir, paano natin masabing relevant siya? Relevant siya pag mayroong predictive value, letter P na lang, okay? O predictive, subletuin ka na. And kapag may confirmatory value, yan yung relevance natin. Faithful representation naman, if it's complete, ano pa? Neutral, and free of error. Okay, yun yung ibig sabihin ng enhancing qualitative fundamental qualitative characteristics na faithfully represented. Alright? Pag enhancing naman class, we have comparability, letter C, verifiability, timeliness, and understandability. Yun yung enhancing qualitative characteristics. Ulitin ko, pag fundamental, relevance and faithful representation. Pag enhancing, comparability, verifiability, timeliness, and understandability. Next, financial statements. So basically, diniscuss lang dyan yung FS. Alam na natin yan. Elements of FS, ano ba ibig sabihin ng elements? Assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. Assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. Yan yung elements of financial statements. Recognition and derecognition of assets and liabilities. Yung asset, i-recognize mo daw yan according to the conceptual framework if the entity loses control. Pag nawala tayong control, i-recognize mo na. Liability naman, i-recognize natin if no longer has obligation. No obligation. Next, measurement basis. Nagbigay na ng mga examples dyan. Ano yung mga examples dyan? Historical cost. What else? Fair value. Value in use. Ano pa? Fulfillment value. Yung fulfillment value, yan din yung sa liabilities or expected value. And then current cost or yung replacement cost. Ulitin ko class, measurement basis, historical cost, fair value, value in use, fulfillment value para sa liabilities, and current cost. Presentation and disclosure, basically, yung sufficiency of notes to financial statements. And last one, capital and capital maintenance. Ay di sabihin lang yung class, income daw, i-recognize natin once ma-recover natin yung capital. Okay? Magre-recognize lang tayo ng income once ma-recover niya tayo. So, ibig sabihin, income is in excess of capital maintenance. Okay? So, yun ibig sabihin niya. Let's finish our handouts. Revised Conceptual Framework. Number 1, the following are the purposes of the Revised Conceptual Framework. Actually, lahat yan. No? To assist ISB and FRC in developing new standards, yes. B, to assist ISB and FRC in reviewing existing standards. Letter C, to assist preparers of FS in accounting for transactions when no accounting standard applies. Pag wala pang applicable na standards, gagamitin natin yung Revised Conceptual Framework. Dog yung sagot mo dyan. Number 2, the following are the chapters. Objectives of financial reporting, yes. Qualitative characteristics, yes. Financial statements, all of the above, dog. Number 3, the following are the chapters, elements, yes. Recognition, yes. Measurement basis, yes. Dog for number 3. Actually, lahat yan. 1, 2, and 3, dog lahat yan. Number 4, the following are the fundamental qualitative characteristics. Again, relevance and faithful representation, C, both A and B. Number 5, the following are enhancing comparability, verifiability, timeliness, and understandability, C for number 5. Okay, that concludes our FAR Preweek discussion.